Welcome to Behold. I'm Beth Whitney, and today with my co-host Craig Hardinger, we are going to give you a peek into our listening habits. We're going to each share some of our favorite podcasts, what we've learned from them, why they're good for us to listen to, or maybe why they're just fun. So give us a listen. Be sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, help get the word out about Behold. We're so grateful you're listening. Here we go.
How you doing, Beth?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay.
Yeah?
The sun is out.
I know.
I'm ready for warm weather.
I am too. It's time to get the paddle boards out.
That's right. You guys are big
Water's a little
paddleboarders.
cold yet. But
Oh, come on, you big baby.
yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Get the Kevlar, not the Kevlar, neoprene. The neoprene.
Kevlar.
The neoprene suits.
Bulletproof
Yeah.
water suit.
Water suit, because you never know.
Water suit, because that's what it's called.
You never know when you need
Okay.
Kevlar. Yeah.
True.
But the neoprene, get those,
That's
and
a
then you
good
can go
idea.
year round.
That's true.
But I don't think you're going to do that.
No.
Probably not. No. All right. It's how well do you know our country time?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Maybe.
All right. Because we have not discussed this, but you know that for many, many years, Sacramento has been known as the what?
The city of trees.
No.
The farm to fork capital.
No.
Those are both correct.
They are very correct.
but they're not the answer you're looking for.
No, that's not the answer I'm looking for.
Are you talking about the most diverse city in
The
America?
most diverse city. In fact, when the search committee was interviewing us when we lived elsewhere, they sent us all kinds from Newsweek, all kinds of articles that Sacramento is the most diverse city. Well, we have been dethroned.
Wah, wah.
Okay, so niche.com, have you ever been on that? Well, maybe when you guys moved to where you live now, did you go on any websites to see what?
Oh, well, yeah, Zillow and
Oh, okay.
like
All right.
Megan's Law.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, niche.com, as far as we've never used it, but as far as I know, like if, for example, if you and Bruce want to move to Fairfield,
Okay.
all right, or if you want to move to Benicia,
Yes.
then you can go on niche.com and find out demographics, find out what the schools are
Oh,
like,
okay.
crime rate,
Yep.
all that stuff. You want to
Probably wouldn't move to Fairfield or Benicia after looking at
right
the stats.
or like Denver,
Yeah, okay.
someplace like that. So I've never used it, but it seemed like it'd be a pretty good thing. Anyway, they came out just recently, 2024, with the top 6 diverse, culturally and racially cities
Okay.
in the United States.
And we lost.
Well, maybe not. Maybe we're on the list. Maybe we're not.
Now, you brought this up to me earlier and you told me no cheating. And I didn't.
I said no cheating.
I did not Google it. I did not
Okay.
look for
All right.
it.
So I want you to throw out some cities, and I will let you know if they are on the top 6. Go.
For some reason, Minneapolis is sticking out in my head.
Negative.
Okay. San Jose.
Negative.
How many chances do I get?
I will say this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of the cities are California cities.
San Francisco.
No.
Los Angeles.
No. I know.
Sacramento.
Sacramento is number 3.
Okay.
We're now 3rd. We're in 3rd place.
Okay. San Diego.
Nope.
I give up.
No, you want? I'll go.
Here's the thing. There's a boy in our church, Levi,
Yeah.
who he wants to maybe be a cartographer when he grows up. And
A what?
A map maker.
Really?
Yes.
Very cool.
He has memorized his neighborhood. Like, he's a map kid.
Huh.
And I have a feeling if he were sitting right here next to me,
He would
Levi
be able to guess, probably.
would help me.
And how old is Levi?
8.
Yeah.
Hi, Levi.
All right. Number 6.
Okay.
I already mentioned it. Fairfield.
Were you giving me hints and I didn't even know it?
Well, yeah, kind of, but you didn't get it. So Fairfield in the nation is number 6.
Wow.
Number 5
Okay.
is Jersey City.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's New Jersey.
I would think
All right.
so.
Yeah. 4 is Oakland.
Okay.
3 is San Francisco or Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is New York City.
Okay.
And do you know what the most diverse city in the nation is?
I obviously don't.
According to niche.com, Vallejo.
Really?
Yes. I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, halfway between Sacramento
And San Francisco. Yeah. Or Oakland anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Vallejo's number 1, New York City's number 2, Sacramento's number 3, number 4 is Oakland, number 5 Jersey City, and number 6 is Fairfield. So four of those, let's see, 1, 2, 4 of those 6 are California cities.
Well, in Northern California.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
I would have picked Los Angeles or San Francisco. That would have been the first ones out of my mind, but apparently not to niche.com.
I picked the wrong niche.
There you go. Good.
Well, hey, you want to jump in?
Yes.
To our topic for today?
This would be kind of a fun one for us, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because both of us are podcast listeners.
Yes, we are, and we're podcasters.
And we are podcasters.
That's right.
Yes. So we're going to talk about our favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And not just Christian podcasts.
Mine are all Christian.
Of course they are.
No, they're not.
Reverend Dr.
I know.
Hardinger.
I've got one that is not, and I might throw another one in just for fun.
And we also said not preaching podcasts, I believe.
Right. No.
So
we didn't say that, but I don't think you picked any.
In my head, I thought, I don't know, maybe I meant to say it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But there are a couple churches I listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
Arcade Church, of course. But
Of course.
So, do you want to go first?
Sure.
And mine aren't ranked. Are yours ranked?
No, mine aren't.
Okay.
Mine aren't either.
Okay.
It's really as they showed up on my phone.
Okay.
That's how I put them down. Number 1, not the first, but the one I listen to on a semi-daily basis is the Pour Over podcast.
Okay.
And all it is just it's news, unabashed news. In about 10 minutes, major headlines, no commentary. This is what's going on. But then there's also a behold focus
cool.
at the very end.
And only 10 minutes.
10 minutes, that's all it is. And so, full disclosure, I listen to it while I'm in the shower.
Okay.
And so I listen to that, get kind of the headlines. It's a daily thing. I don't think they're on weekends.
Okay.
It's very short. I'm in and out quickly, and I like it.
I think it's important for us to kind of keep our finger on the pulse.
Yes.
What's happening in our world,
Yep.
what's happening in our city.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like it. It's
Who's
very
it hosted
simple.
by?
Different people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really don't know who it is.
Okay.
In fact, for this podcast, I kind of looked up on the website, and I probably could have dug deeper. I just didn't care because I like it,
Yep.
and it's a good, and they have the coffee theme,
Yes.
and everything, so it's kind of good.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
Okay, the first one I have listed is the Bible Project
Yes,
podcast.
you love that one. I love those guys.
They are so smart.
Yeah.
So there's a new host this year, co-host. Her name's Michelle. I don't remember her last name. But for the most part, it's John Collins and Tim Mackey. And they do deep dives into Bible passages, themes, topics. This year, they're doing a deep dive into the Sermon on the Mount.
Oh, great.
Which has been so fascinating to, we did it as a church.
Years ago, yeah.
And that was great. And here's not a different perspective, but deeper dives into topics you can't really do from a platform, right? As a preacher.
Yeah. And they're so good at conversing. I completely forgot about the Bible Project podcast. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bible Project as a whole, whether it's through their videos or their articles or whatever, really deepened my understanding of who God is, but also His Word and the cultural understanding. There's so many aha moments of when you look at a theme through the Bible and you're like, no wonder Jesus said that.
Yeah.
It's because we've been tracing this theme of living water all through.
Right.
Anyway, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good one. The second one that I have is Truth in Love.
I've never heard of that one.
Well, it's a biblical counseling podcast that's put out by Association of Certified Biblical Counselors, ACBC. Not the band.
ACDC.
No, this is ACBC.
Okay.
The band is ACDC.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. We just lost a bunch of listeners right there.
And me.
And anyway, I love it. It's got different, it doesn't have any one host. Dale Johnson kind of sponsors it. He's a well-known biblical counselor, and it just provides biblical solutions that people face.
Oh.
And so each episode will be on. It can be as specific as when your child is afraid.
Oh.
When they're overwhelmed by fear. Then it goes into any form of addiction, anything like that. And as you know, I don't do a lot of biblical counseling
Right.
anymore just because of my role here at Arcade. But I still want to keep involved with that, keep with the lingo.
Well, and you teach, too.
I teach, yeah.
And so
Suzanne
that's
Bond and I
important.
teach a class on Wednesdays. So I keep my big toe in it, but I want to stay abreast of what's going on
Yep.
and what they're dealing with. And so it's a great podcast for anybody. You can just kind of go through, and if there's something that you're dealing with,
Yeah.
you can just kind of go through the menu and find an episode on that.
That's
It's
a great
good.
idea.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, my second one is actually coming to an end,
Oh.
but it will be archived, so you can still access it. It's called Let's Read the Gospels.
Okay.
So there's a woman, her name's Annie F. Downs, and she has to have the F because, there's another Annie Downs out there. But she is a podcaster, speaker, author, that kind of woman. So a year and a half ago, she started Let's Read the Gospels, where in a month she would read through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Oh, wow.
And the next month, she might
Without comment, just reading it?
She would read it and pray, or read it. Here's something that stood out to me today. Pray.
Okay.
So 10 to 12 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're recording the last day of the month. Tomorrow, she's going to read through Acts
The whole book?
in a month,
Oh, no,
like
okay.
over a
All right.
month,
All right.
and then that podcast is going to be done. She's not going to produce new content.
Now, did she say why?
Well, because she's read through the Gospels
Okay.
every month for
Yeah.
a year and a half.
And the
So you can-
podcast is named Read Through the Gospel.
It's called Let's Read the Gospels.
Yeah, okay.
And you know what I love about it is it doesn't matter how busy you are. You can take 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how I've pretty much listened since day one. So I've listened to the Gospels in their entirety once a month for a year and a half.
That's great. Wow.
And there's something new.
Yeah.
There's always something. I
Yeah.
never noticed that. I don't remember hearing that. It's just because the word's living and active,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a great way to get the word, 10 minutes while you're fixing breakfast or curling your hair or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. The third one on my list is Historical Figures by Parcast. It's an organization. And I listened to this more when I was cycling.
Okay.
I don't cycle anymore, but when I was cycling, you're out there for 4 or 5 hours. And so I would and all it is each episode is a biography of a famous historical
cool.
figure. Like Marco Polo,
Oh, wow.
Lewis and Clark,
Yeah.
Albert Einstein, Queen Victoria, just really well-known people. And they kind of go in and do kind of a fairly detailed life of this individual. And it's just super interesting.
Yeah.
Probably for a professional historian, it's pretty shallow.
Sure.
But when you're riding for 30, 40, 50 miles, you don't really
It's a
want
good
some-
distraction.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just they do a good job dramatizing that. And I love it. It's been a lot of fun.
That makes me think of a podcast Sarah and I will listen to, like when we go on a road trip. It's called History Chicks.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
these two
You've
women.
told me about that,
It's
yeah.
so interesting, like a deep dive into Marie Curie, and it's like, wow,
Yeah,
the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
Yeah.
yeah, those kind of historical podcasts are fun. Okay, my next one is called The Lazy Genius. And The Lazy Genius.
Sounds like a bar or something. C.S. Lewis must have drunk a pint in,
Smoked a cigar.
Yeah.
So there's a woman, her name's Kendra Adachi, and she's the lazy genius. And her whole thing is be genius about the things that matter and lazy about the things that don't.
I like that.
It's so smart. So
Yeah.
she's, she has a couple books, but she has these steps you go through, like you make everything as simple as possible. So I get overwhelmed with organizing pretty easily, but like when you break it down into bite size, she's not the lady who was like, if it sparks joy, you have to do it
Right.
my way.
Yeah.
Hers is more like a process. And one of the best things I learned from her, one of her steps is decide once. And decide once can be anything from on Wednesday, we have hot dogs for dinner, to if I get invited to a wedding shower, I buy this one thing, to like we've even implemented this in planning kids camp. Like we've decided what color the t-shirts are. We've decided. We don't go back and revisit it.
Could you talk to my wife, please?
No.
My wife, Debbie, whom I love very much, because this would be a great discipline for shopping. Because when I go shopping, now we don't shop that much anymore, but when I go shopping, I decide once, and then I get out of there. But when I go with my wife, whom I love very much, I decide once, well, let's go to this store and find out what they have. And let's go to that store and find out what they have. And the problem is that usually saves me money, but it doesn't save me time.
Well, time is money, so maybe it does.
Yeah,
or money is time. I don't know.
I don't know. But by that time, I'm Mr. Cranky Pants.
Well, whose fault is that?
And but then she buys me a treat.
Oh, see, it all works out.
It all works out.
If she decided once, you wouldn't get your treat, Pastor Craig.
I think she just turned off the Behold podcast right now. Yeah.
Craig, I can hear her voice.
But decide once. Decide once. That's genius. I like that.
It's so freeing.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already decided that.
Yeah.
We don't have to go back and revisit it.
Yeah.
But then maybe in a year from now, you're sick of hot dogs on Wednesday. So then you decide once. I mean, she has all these different methods of what decide once means. It's not just in the kitchen or gift giving or I read books on Kindle. That's my decide once or whatever.
Yeah.
It could be
That's
super
good.
broad.
That's good. I like that. My fourth, I don't listen to all the time, but he's probably a friend. I mean, I say, hello, Preston, and he goes, who? You know, but it's Preston Sprinkle's podcast, Theology in the Raw.
Okay. Oh, you just went to their conference.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't listen to it every episode because he's very episode specific.
Yes.
And there's sometimes an episode shows I just don't care.
Right.
I don't care about that. But probably my favorite episode recently is that he had, and the thing I love about what he does is he is perfectly secure and willing to have someone come on who disagrees with him. In fact, probably 3 or 4 months ago, someone, a pastor in the Deep South, really lowered the boom on him over Twitter or X, whatever they call it now. And so on that same thread, Preston invited him to be on his Theology in the Raw. And he came on and they debated. It was very civil.
Yep.
I don't think no one was convinced of the other.
No.
But I like that.
Yeah.
Because I think that Preston models for us in the church ways that you can be able to disagree with each other and still call each other brother and sister. But he had probably, it was soon after Hamas invaded Israel on October 7th, he had someone in support of Palestinians and someone in support of Israel on different episodes. Yes. And both of them are professing Christians. And it was great. It was just really good. And obviously both of them disagreed.
Right.
But it was really, really good. And I think Preston navigated that. And he does that very well. That's Theology in the Raw. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My next one is Dateline.
Is what?
Dateline.
Is that a dating app or something?
Oh my gosh, Craig. You know, the show, but not on TV.
You know, I know I've heard that a lot of old people listen to that. So that's really good. That's good. That you can do that. That's all right. You know, no criticism, no judgment. It's good because, you know.
I like to relate to the older people. You know how like you go and you watch TikToks or Reels so you can relate to the younger people? I listen to Dateline so I can relate to the older folks.
Good for you. Well, full disclosure again, we watch Dateline. I didn't know until
do ya?
Until you told me this morning, I didn't know that Dateline had a podcast.
So they have a couple of series.
Yeah.
Like you can listen to the Dateline episode podcast.
Yeah.
But there's a couple. There's one called The Thing About Pam, where there's this woman who's super manipulative and you don't know what happens. And they tell the story. I can't think of the guy's name. The gray-haired guy that everyone liked. Keith Morrison with the voice, you know. And then there's another one called The Thing About Helen and Olga. And they're like 5 or 6 episodes. deep dive into what happens, just good storytelling.
Now, what's on the podcast? Is that what they put on the program, the TV
Well,
program?
there are those, but then
Okay.
there's also these separate series
Okay. All right.
that are separate from.
Yeah, we like Dateline. We sit there and drink our Ovaltine. Do you put your shawl on, your Afghan?
Yes, of
and
course.
listen to it? Okay, I just wondered.
Well, I rub arthritis cream on my knees.
Exactly. All right. This one I think you've listened to as well. I listen to it fairly consistently. Truth Over Tribe.
Yes.
The guys that talk about that are actually two pastors, Patrick Miller and Keith Simon. I don't remember where it's back east someplace. I think it's Midwest.
Yeah.
But it's simply it's Christian takes on culture and news and politics, and I like those things.
Well, and their intro it kind of gives away where it's like it's the lamb over the elephant or the donkey.
It's not the elephant or the donkey; it's the lamb, and I like that. I think that they balance that very, very well. I don't agree with everything.
Right.
I don't agree with everything on all of these.
Right. I think we
podcasts.
can say that. Like,
Yeah. In
just
fact, you
because we
probably-
listen to them
yeah,
doesn't
you
mean.
probably haven't agreed with a lot of things we've talked about, and we just need to learn how to be cordial.
Yes.
And they have really interesting guests on
Yeah.
there and things.
Yeah.
So it's good. I listen to it quite frequently,
Yeah.
especially as the election year ramps up. I'm listening to it more and
I'm
more.
trying to just bury my head in the sand.
I know.
It's not working.
Yeah.
Okay, my next one is called Made for This. It's by Jenny Allen, who was one of my favorite books of 2023, the author. There's 2 episodes a week. One is a devotional, one's an interview. What was I going to say? Wow. Jenny Allen. She's super passionate about Gen Z. I
Okay.
don't know if you've seen where there's been at college campuses like baptisms in the back of trucks or in the fountains, or she's connected to one of the speakers at these events where
Okay.
she will straight out call young people to repent from their sin. Not like, oh, Jesus loves you and has a wonderful plan. No, if you are choosing sin over Jesus, you need to choose. I mean,
her.
just
Yeah.
straightforward, but from this heart that just is so loving
Yeah.
towards the generation that. Anyway,
I think.
I love Jenny Allen.
Yeah, I've never heard her speak or I've never read anything, but I know Debbie. I think probably a lot of the women in our fellowship really enjoy her, and so I respect her from a distance.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to read anything. I'm breaking the rule. I've got 6. Is that okay?
Me too.
You have 6? Okay.
I could have like 16.
I know.
but-
I know. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you're probably the same way. Is that when I look at my phone, I've got on my menu probably 20 podcasts that I'll go to at any time.
Yep.
These. If you were to ask me next week, I might not mention any of these.
Right.
Because I do go back and
I
forth.
kind of get hot or cold. Like I'll binge on
Yeah.
a podcast, and then I'm like, man, kind of done
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully, no one does that to us.
This is a new one for me.
Oh,
But they've been around for a long
Okay.
time. But it's a new one for me. It's the Church Politics Podcast,
okay.
which is a really exciting title, right? But it's by the AND campaign. You've heard of the AND
Yes.
campaign. Justin Giboney and Chris Butler.
And like an ampersand, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've always respected Justin Giboney. I've read quite a bit of his stuff. I didn't know who Chris Butler was or is until I went to this conference in Boise, where Preston Sprinkle was, and Preston had him speak, and I was absolutely impressed with him. He's a pastor in Chicago.
Okay.
Both Justin and Chris are Democrats.
Okay.
And they are pro-life Democrats, African Americans, and they are giving a perspective on politics that I think is refreshing. It really is. I've kind of navigated on their website because I didn't know that much about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've always respected Giboney's writing. He's a really good writer. But these guys, they got it. They've got it, and their perspective obviously is Midwest. But
Well, also African American.
African American, and I need to be discipled in that. I really do.
Yeah.
And I've listened to like 4 or 5 episodes, and I just cherry picked.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
I'll have to give that a listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your 6?
I have 6.5. I'm not trying
Well,
to
if you're going
compete.
to do 6.5, I'm going to do 6.5.
Fine.
All right, fine. Okay.
Fine.
All right.
Fine.
What's your...
Okay. So I said, let's read the Gospels.
Okay.
She has another podcast called That Sounds Fun. And so Annie F. Downs. And she has interviewed a scholar to talk about the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts. And they are so, like, I'm at the gym listening and I'm like, what? Oh, don't say that, where you just kind of like, I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. Like just hearing, a scholar on the book of Matthew talk about, well, this was probably what Matthew was thinking when he wrote this, or it may not be chronological. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
It's not chronological. Oh, no wonder it doesn't identically match up with Luke.
They didn't care about that.
No, because they told stories differently than we do.
Yeah.
So that's 6. And then half, there's a speaker, author, whatever, woman. Her name's Megan Fate Marshman. And if she's on anything, I'm listening to her. Super gospel passionate, a great communicator. And so, like, even as a communicator myself, I want to learn from others. And she's one of those ones where it's like, she'll come on the platform and be like, are you expectant? Because I am. Just like, and you're like, wait, where's the hi, hello? But she just like, bam, into it. And so I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Is she older, younger, middle-aged?
She's younger than me. Okay. So, and she has a super interesting story. She, Christian growing up and married 2 little boys, and her husband just died.
Oh, wow.
About a year and a half ago. And so just navigating grief and raising boys on her own and what work looks like because all of that. So I would love to be friends with her in real life.
Yeah. That's neat.
Okay, what's your half?
My half this is not a guilty pleasure, but it's a shallow pleasure.
Okay.
And you know that Debbie and I, we like The Office, the TV show The Office. Well, I'm sure that we've seen every episode, and they're on at certain times when we just want to veg.
Yep.
And it's easy to veg.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to know the character. Well, there's a podcast now that's put out by 2 of the characters.
Okay.
Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey, and it's called The Office Ladies.
So Pam and
Angela. And what they do is each episode they take an episode.
Oh.
And they talk about that episode. And what's fun is they go behind the scenes. And they talk about who wrote this and how it came about. And some of the funny things that happen behind camera or maybe on the cutting room floor or whatever. And when Debbie and I spend a lot of time on the road, we'll listen to something like that just because it's refreshing, it's funny, humorous, it's funny. And so we like that.
So fun fact,
okay.
The Office Ladies have an episode on the Lazy Genius where she helps them figure out and strategize like a little problem they have.
Oh, wow.
And now
I didn't know that.
the Lazy Genius is a part, I guess the Office Ladies have a podcast network now, and they're producing her podcast.
Very cool. That's cool.
Little
That's
overlap
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey.
You know what's funny is other than this Office Ladies, your podcasts were primarily filled with women hosts.
Yes.
And mine with men.
Yeah.
Should we be alarmed by that?
I don't know because I listen to...
Not alarmed, maybe alarmed.
Yeah.
The wrong word.
I listen to Theology in the Raw.
Yeah.
I listen to, I have a half an hour commute one way. So I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Right.
I listen to Bridgetown Church, John Mark Comer's former church, where there's a male you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do think we need to, like you were saying, the AND campaign. I don't remember the name of that podcast.
Oh, Church and Politics.
Church and Politics, where you're listening to men who aren't in your demographic.
Right.
Younger, African-American, Democrat, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important to do.
Yeah, I agree.
To learn where we don't have to take everything we hear as truth or agree with it, but I do think it's important to listen to voices that are different than our own.
Absolutely. Like I used to, I don't think they're on anymore, but the podcast that Jen Wilkin was on.
Yes.
I listen to that one all the time, and I think they've been off for about a year.
Yeah.
And then I still like the Perrys.
Yes. With the Perrys.
With the Perrys, that Jackie Hill and Preston.
Yep.
And I get a kick out of them just because they don't think like I do, but I would love to think like they do.
Right.
about certain things,
Yep.
and that's fun. But it's interesting because it's nothing wrong. I don't think it's a gender issue. It's a topic issue. What really drives you? What piques your curiosity?
I mean, if I've stumbled across a podcast of a man reading the Gospels.
Yeah.
I'd probably listen to that,
Yeah, yeah.
when I found this other one.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today. We would love to hear what your favorite podcast is. What'd I miss?
Are we going to behold?
Oh, your favorite podcast is probably Behold. So let's behold.
Oh, I got nothing. I was just asking. No, I did. I was thinking this whole while that we were talking there's that passage in Psalm 73 when David, or the psalmist says, "Whom have I in heaven but you? And on earth there is nothing I desire beside you. My heart and my flesh may fail, but you are the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Mm-hmm. And I love that passage, and I'm grateful for these podcasts we talk about because, as you know, it takes time. Not just our time, but Ethan's here, Chris is here behind the camera. It takes a lot of effort to do this, and I'm grateful for these people that I can be able to bring into my mind, into my home, into my car, and talk about things that, in a non-threatening way, that I can just kind of absorb and enjoy. And for whatever reason, that wells up within me praise. That I really delight in that.
Yes.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever.
Yeah.
There's a song. It's
Yeah.
going to be in my head the rest of the day.
Exactly.
I don't know who does it, and I'm not singing it.
Thank you.
Hey, if you have input, if you have a podcast you'd love and you think Craig or I would be interested in it, email it to us.
Absolutely.
behold@arcadechurch.com. I had lunch with a friend yesterday and she's like, "Oh, I wanted to email you, but I don't want to be annoying." And I'm like, "Email us, please." Yeah. So we might be getting some more emails.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm trying to encourage people.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I totally disagree with you, or thank you so much, or here's my favorite podcast, or why in the world do you listen to that? Email us.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, keep your eyes on Jesus. Let him satisfy your soul. Nothing satisfies like him. Until next time, we'll see you around.